Ladies and gentlemen, nerds, and neckbeards, welcome to another episode of Westworld. Wheneverly.
Hey, Dave.
Hey, Tana.
What day is it today?
Today is Friday.
It is also June 1st, and do you know what June is?
Pride Month?
It is Pride Month. Happy Pride, my dude.
Happy Pride. Mazel tov.
Cheers. Mazel tov. And other things.
This is weird tasting.
What do you think of it? We are drinking in honor of summer officially being upon us and the 6th month of the year.
Yours is not the same as mine.
No, it's not. We've got 2 different spiked seltzers to choose from. You're welcome to try mine if you want to try the...
Sure, the black cherry?
Yep, this is White Claw Hard Seltzer Black Cherry flavor. Very good for drinking around a pool.
Oh, yours is way better than mine.
Crushed ice. Let me try yours. Which one did you go with?
The pomegranate.
You have the truly spiked and sparkling seltzer.
Spiked and sparkling.
Yeah, there's not a lot of sugar in yours, the one that you have, so it tends to just taste like water.
Water with some alcohol in it. Yeah,
and a slight maybe pomegranate juice.
It's not bad though.
It's
refreshing.
It's a good summer drink.
Yeah, I could see myself drinking around a pool.
Nice and light. Yeah. Hot sunshine, nice, cool, refreshing, spiked, sparkling waters.
So before we get into discussing more things,
Sure.
we have to talk about that we kind of changed our official name.
Oh, yeah, we did.
Right? We're now Wheneverly.
We are just Wheneverly.
With Dave and Tana.
Yeah, because we're doing, because George is taking a long time, as we expected, to come out with more books of A Song of Ice and Fire for us to talk about. We spun ourselves off. So we decided we'll just continue to spin ourselves off.
Yeah, and I think, just as things progress, we'll be spinning left and right all the time. And,
spinning off with both hands.
Yeah, I'll put one hand on me, you put one hand on me. We'll just continue to spin each other off.
It's a strange segue. Kirsten and I were in a movie the other night, and
and popcorn trick? Cut a hole in the bottom of the popcorn?
Definitely not that.
No? Okay.
I went for your parrot trick. We talked about this a couple episodes ago. Your pickup line.
It's the great pickup line.
If you were a pirate, would you wear a parrot on this arm?
This shoulder or this shoulder?
Yeah, and then you reach across and do the old snuggadoo.
That's right, I know.
Or this shoulder.
It's basically like a better version of the yawn trick. That's what it is.
And she was like, I wouldn't have a parrot. And moved away. I got shut down. I got super shut down. It didn't work for me, Dave.
I'm sorry. It's worked 90% of the time, every time.
Well, listen. What was today's episode?
Today's episode was called Phase Space.
Phase Space.
Phase Space.
Phase Space. It's episode 6 of season 2.
And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm back on board.
With the show, yes, me too.
Right? Okay.
I feel like they found themselves again. I do have some qualms, which we can discuss about the episode. Is this whole samurai Shogun world just fan service for some reason? Does it actually do anything?
They were, spinning themselves off a little bit.
What is that? We'll talk about it. Stump Dave.
I love that. Recently we've been getting let's just fucking get into Stump Dave. Let's just go right for it. Let's go.
Because you haven't picked up on it yet, but all of the Stump Daves are, what does the title mean?
Oh. Well, it's a good thing I know what this title means. Or at least, have a general theory.
Hey, Dave.
Hey, Tana.
What does phase space mean?
So phase space is it's basically has to do with the theory of the universe. And the phase space is... a location where all possibilities are happening simultaneously.
It's like a multiverse, right?
It's like a multiverse in that every possible outcome of every possible thing is happening all at once.
And it's some sort of quantum...
Yeah, it's a quantum world where, I don't think you'd necessarily be...
I don't get it.
I don't think you'd necessarily be aware of. You can't be I'm going to the phase space, right?
Right.
But... at least the theory, to my understanding, is that it's just it's the theory that everything is happening all at once. All possibilities are happening all
All
at once. So
possibilities.
there's a possibility where we sit and talk.
Right.
There's a possibility where, you're not gay. There's a possibility where I'm gay, right? And all of those
Pride
things
Month.
are... Right, exactly. And all of those things are happening.
Sorry, Dave couldn't podcast. He's up at Waterworks. What is it called?
Gay days.
Gay days. He's
Gay
up at
days.
gay days right now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Apparently that's a Florida thing. I, being a transplant to Florida, am not really... I've never done the gay days in Florida.
I've never done the gay days either.
Hey, cheers.
Cheers to that.
In a multiverse somewhere.
right.
No,
We're
in the phase
In
space
a
somewhere.
face space somewhere, we're doing it.
both there.
That's right, exactly.
Yeah. And also sitting by a pool. And also probably dead.
Probably drinking these.
Yeah.
Dead.
In all,
Wait,
well,
dead.
because all possibilities.
That's
so,
true.
like,
Yeah.
we would be dead a million times.
There's a universe where
an
I don't
infinite
exist,
number of
right?
times. Yeah.
There's a universe where I just don't exist. So.
I don't even want to think about it. Okay.
Aw. But so that is, I think, a great name of this episode.
Yeah.
Especially because we learn about the C4D LE.
That was such a good name.
Or
Do you have any-
CR4DL.
Yeah, dash DL, the cradle. It looks like the letter CR, the number 4, like worry,
That's right.
hyphen DL is
right.
on the door of the cradle, and it almost looks like the word cradle, just
right.
like W4RRI almost looks like worry.
Yep, that's
Follow Dave at worry
It does look like Ward.
on the Twitters. Does it mean anything? Is there any sort of like
No, people
engineering speak that...
What, the cradle?
Yeah, that cradle,
Oh.
or is it just that from a design standpoint it looks cool?
I think from a design standpoint,
It doesn't
looks...
actually mean anything. And
Well, I mean, you could say the cradle, as with anything, is like the birthplace, the home, right, where things come together,
yeah.
right? So it's very symbolic. It's
Right.
not. It's not. Oh, it just looks cool on a door, right? It's very symbolic.
right.
But I think it's cool.
But
how
you
they.
think so? There's no sort of like that, to your knowledge, some computer engineering reason that it would be CR4-DL.
No.
That doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't mean anything.
It's just that they picked it because it looks nice.
It's I
I'm
mean,
into it.
probably. I mean, it probably means something like, computer resources, room number 4, download or some bullshit. I don't know. I just made that shit up, right? But my job is acronym mania, so I'm really good at acronyms. But it could be anything, right?
Yeah.
But it's called the cradle, and
I
it's
like that.
symbolically it's called the cradle.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's
So-
the birthplace. We find out in this episode some very interesting stuff.
That's right.
I was right. Bernard uploads himself into the X-Men Matrix using Cerebro.
That's right.
Except it's a lot more painful than when Professor X puts on the helmet.
Closet Case Becky is like, that's designed for an older model. You're going to feel a lot of pain. And
Yes.
he's like, pain is just a thing.
Pain is a program.
Pain is a program.
Pain
I
is
can't
just a
turn it
program
off.
is maybe the best line of the entire show, right? Like, pain is just a program. That's your t-shirt slogan right there.
That's right.
And
Wheneverly
she's like,
with Dave and Tana, listening
pain
to
is
us
just-
is pain. Pain is just,
pain is just a program. Yes, yes. We'll throw that shit on some t-shirts right now. Okay, so the episode opens
Yes.
in the weirdest way possible. So we go straight to credits, nothing before the credits.
Yep.
I'm paying attention now. We open on Dolores and Bernard.
This,
Old
I think,
Dolores and Bernard.
Well,
Talk to me, Dave. What happened here?
this is a great opener
it's so
because
good.
we think we're seeing Bernard. We think we're seeing Arnold
Yeah.
talking to Dolores.
We sure do.
And then all of a sudden,
There's elements of this that are familiar. Her
Right.
the blue dress.
That's right.
Her like early
they're
stuff.
in this like substation type of
This
thing.
was the moment when he decides that he's going to use her as the instrument to commit suicide. This
Right.
is the finale of season 1.
This is where he's deciding this is what he has to do.
Yep.
But then he says, I don't know if I have the right to make...
Pausing just a second.
Yeah.
We know it's so what the show has done really well is film things. The directing has been really great.
Yeah.
And we've talked about camera work here. This scene felt new because I don't think that they're mimicking the scene where Bernard and Dolores were talking or Arnold is telling Dolores, I'm going to use you as an instrument to kill myself. Like that
Right.
original conversation, I don't think they shot it the same way.
Right.
So it feels like it feels familiar because we're sort of,
in a same setting,
Yeah.
same kind of
there's
clothing.
elements that are the
yeah.
same, but they're not filming it the same way. And so It's the same but different. Anyway, go on.
Yeah, so they're talking, and then Bernard is basically, or Arnold, we think it's Arnold.
Yeah.
You're supposed to think it's Arnold at the beginning. He's having this dilemma. He's like, can I terminate consciousness?
Yeah.
Is it my right to decide this? And Dolores says,
I'm
no.
frightened of what you might become.
Oh, yeah.
What path you might take. I'm not sure it's my choice to make. And when he says that, Dolores goes, no, he didn't say that. And Arnold looks at her and is like, what? He said, I'm not sure what choice to make. He didn't question whether or not he had agency, whether or not he had the right to end me or himself, but whether he should. I don't understand, Dolores. Is this some kind of improvisation?
Yep.
We think it's fucking Arnold.
That's right.
He thinks he's Arnold.
That's right.
And she goes, freeze all motor functions. What the fuck is this, Dave?
This is fucking Arnold consciousness in
next
Bernard
level
body.
Shit. This is next level shit right here. This is why the show is so good.
Yep.
This is such good shit. Freeze all motor functions. Sit. She stands up. He sits down. She takes the behavior tablet from him. There's creepy music now.
Yep.
Dolores says, this is a test. One we've done countless times.
He says, what are you testing for? And she says, fidelity.
Oh, fucking drop the mic before the episode even starts.
Jim fucking Delos.
This is Jim Delos.
That's right.
Except it's Jim Delos being perfected.
That's right.
So,
it's Bernard.
okay. All right. Freeze all motor functions. You and I, right now, need to decide what the fuck Ford is doing. Let's just jump to the end.
Can I drink? Can I move? Okay.
Yes.
All right, good.
Oh, man, this drink looks like nothing to me. So, Ford is spying on the Jim Delos project. He knows about the Jim Delos.
About it.
Is he working on the Jim Delos project? Is he perfecting it on his own?
I mean, he's got to be, right? There's no other way that he does this. In fact, I think not only is he spying on it, he uses the technology to upload himself into the cradle.
Yeah.
That's the big reveal at the end.
Yep.
Spoilers,
Yep.
I ruined it already.
We got to jump all over the place here. So so we think. So I'm still torn. We need to break this down a little bit with our analysis.
Okay. Our analysis.
Our analysis.
Our analysis. Right.
So a couple of things happen at the end of season 1, which I think are important to keep in mind when we're thinking about this episode in season 2. One is that when Bernard is going through the motions and Clementine is holding the gun on Ford, Ford is genuinely impressed with Bernard and all of his range of emotions. And he's like, you should take a victory lap. This is really good stuff. This is so compelling. All of this that you're experiencing, the pain and all of that you made, right? Like the human architects could only go so far. So that's why I made you. And then you were able to take it over the finish line.
Right.
So expand that to include all the robots, or at least Dolores. And now we've got 2 robots, both working under Ford's tutelage, let's say. So this is the theory.
So you're saying that Dolores is perfecting the consciousness and the work that Delos couldn't do.
Yes, in the same way that Bernard was. So Dolores becomes a tool of enlightenment, of robot enlightenment.
How does Ford get himself into the cradle, right? There's got to be some... And maybe they were successfully able to download consciousness, but they're having trouble downloading it back in, or uploading consciousness, but they're having trouble downloading it back into a host.
What if Ford's end game is to bring Arnold to sort of marry the personality, bring Arnold back to life, but marry the personalities of Bernard, who's based on Arnold, and actual Arnold. And so the only person left alive that remembers Arnold, remember, this is a theme. You only matter as long as somebody remembers you. Ghost Nation whispers that to Ashley, to G.I. Joe.
Right.
You are only alive as long as somebody remembers you, or whatever that actual line was.
So the last person is alive remembers? Yeah, something along those lines.
And so that's in Ford's game, right? Like, we are of the opinion that Ghost Nation are creatures of Ford. And so what if Ford has created a heaven for himself, which is Westworld? He gets to live there forever. There's Jacques, right? There's the dog. All of his stuff is there. He's the well-trained clavier. What is
Clavier.
it? Yeah, he's playing the piano. So he's in heaven. What if his endgame isn't for himself to live forever, but for Arnold to live forever through Bernard? What if it's giving Bernard the sort of like marrying the robot?
So you're saying the entire show is really about him,
Ford, yeah,
repaying a debt to Arnold.
and finally not only setting the robots free, which was what Arnold wanted,
Right.
but setting Arnold free to be among them.
So the question really becomes is, do we think that Ford is really trying to set them free? Do we really think that Dolores is conscious,
And why does
or is she just following her script?
Yeah.
You know, is this just Ford's game that he is making it seem like all these hosts are quote unquote free?
So let's take it scene by scene. I think we did the ending at the beginning, but
Yeah.
we should still talk about the episode.
All right, let's talk about the episode.
After we do
Let's
Dolores,
jump through your notes because you
Yep.
took notes this time. I'm proud
what
of
are you testing for? Fidelity. Yeah.
Fidelity.
Yeah. From then we cut
Fidelity.
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 Just like it's anal
Fido.
cis.
An anal assist and
Anal assist.
Fidelity.
Fidelity, yeah.
From
Here,
there,
Fido.
come here, Jacques. We cut to buzzing of flies. So remember, we opened season 1 with a buzzing fly.
Yep.
Except now it's Teddy, changed robot Teddy. Gunslinger stepping into the scene.
Eddie's a fucking BA. What's going on with him?
He seems sour. He is.
Not only does he seem sour, but I think Dolores is regretting it.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
like,
There was a lot of more awkward robot pauses in here.
I think it was more like, we fucked, but you're not the person that I wanted to fuck anymore. So it's like,
I think they're both, like the audience, forgetting that robot sex ever happened. They're blocking it out. His gunslinger finger
Dolores
is
is
twitching.
like, can we just be friends? And Teddy's like, but we had sex.
I thought you loved me.
But we did it already.
He walks through a scene of carnage in Sweetwater.
Water.
He kneels down to pick up. What do you think he's picking up?
He's picking up the can that Dolores, that he's trained to pick up. That
The milk,
yeah,
the maiden's milk can.
yeah.
But he doesn't pick it up. Instead, he picks up one bullet. And he puts that one bullet instead of the maiden's milk, his beginning of his script. He puts the bullet in his pocket.
Yeah.
Ugh.
He's changed.
He's changed.
We're seeing that, and they shot it purposely to make you think he's going to pick up
Yep.
that can.
They sure
And
did.
he's like, I
Off
ain't that Teddy no mo.
Yep. He enters the saloon. Dolores is playing the piano. Are they doing a thing where they're mirroring Ford playing the piano at the end and Dolores playing the piano in this opening scene?
And Bernard walking in on him
Yeah.
and Teddy walking in on him?
Yeah,
Maybe.
so we've got a partnership that's fractured, right?
Right.
Like they're not getting along in both scenes.
Yep.
And then Ford is playing the piano inside the cradle, the sort of all the data, but sort of in
Right.
the heaven version. But his instrument, Dolores, is playing the piano outside. Are we supposed to be making these kind of connections, or am I just getting a little bit too crazy here?
I think we are. I think that nothing is done
Yeah.
without purpose
Yep.
in this world.
I wonder.
In this show. In
so
general.
let's watch for parallels between the relationships and how they have changed.
Okay.
The relationship between Ford and Bernard, right? Because Bernard is learning slowly in the same way that Teddy is learning slowly this person that he thought he knew, who's way ahead of him, but is also fucking him up.
Right.
And then are there clues in Dolores's reaction to Teddy that Ford has regrets, or Ford, this wasn't as easy for Ford as perhaps we would assume.
Thought, right? Yeah.
Let's
We'll
keep
have
an
to
eye
keep
on
that
that.
in mind for the next episode.
Yeah,
'cause
put it-
hopefully next episode is going to
Back
open
on
up.
track. Do you know how many episodes are in this season?
I don't. I would assume 10.
10, because that's how much we had last season. Someone somewhere on the internet knows. Dear internet.
Dear internet.
So she says to him,
We're really knowledgeable on, all things Westworld.
yes,
We're,
that's why people come
definitely
We're
experts.
fonts of knowledge.
Yes, exactly.
The man who rode that train was built weak and born to fail. You fixed him. Now forget about it. She said, how many thousands of times have you ridden that train into town? How many tens of thousands? And then he leaves, and she looks really troubled. This is when we have the two humans. We have behavior tablet guy and security guy peeing their pants. Just tell them what they want to know, man.
And she's like...
Just tell them. Tell them anything.
I love this. He's like, yeah, cold storage, butcher shop, where could
they be?
Where could they be? Anywhere. Just tell them something. Mm-hmm. And he's like, she didn't tell me. She's the fucking boss.
She could have them in places we don't even know about, is what he says. Yep. Yeah.
And then Teddy walks up and just boom.
Now, do we see Blondie number 2 looking normal? We do, don't we? Because right now, Blondie number 2 has that whole, like, Jesus crown of blood thing going on, the hippy dippy shit.
Yeah.
Where she looks like
I don't remember seeing her normal.
Maybe it's the coming next week stuff that I saw. Because I think that there's a guy with a big machine gun, and she's just, like, touching the gun gently. And shouldn't they be fighting or something?
Like petting the gun?
She's kind of...
She better not pet it too much.
She's petting it overhand.
Sometimes if you pet it too much, it goes off. You know?
Let's see.
It's a little bit of heavy petting that can happen there.
So what about this? Something else I want to put a pin in. Maybe that was a bad transition. Hale didn't tell me anything. Teddy, boom. And then you know who fucking loves that he just shot that guy? Blondie number 2.
That's right.
What if there's a love connection?
Oh.
Right? Like, could this be an Isabella? There's only one story here. Maeve and Hector. But Isabella loves the violence, and so
okay.
You know, so Blondie number 2 loves it. So we could have. What if we have like a new Teddy and a Blondie number 2 love connection? You changed him.
How would that make Dolores feel?
How would Dolores feel about that?
Also, Teddy in season 1, made a claim he's going to kill Wyatt. Is that foreshadowing?
Oh, David. Cheers, my dude. Shit. Oh, do I
They make all these changes. Dolores makes all these changes, which, by the way, we already know can be unstable. What if he has like a schism where he's like, I gotta kill Wyatt, and then he's like...
Or even if it's already happened, like this shit. Oh, yeah. Wyatt, yes. David, you're right.
I know.
We cut from here to G.I. Joe closing the eyes of a dead guard in the creepy flickering light of the mesa. Enter Charlotte Hale. Where the fuck have you been? It's almost been a week. How is there still stuff to shoot at in this place? Because you can hear gunfire behind them. So when we open the season, it's been 2 weeks, right?
Right.
So the second extraction team, or like the sadistic string bean team, and the current timeline is 2 weeks.
Yep.
So a week before that is right now in this episode, right? So we know that Stubbs makes it. The G.I. Joe will make it to the end.
Right.
We know that somehow Bernard washes up on the water with like a wine glass next to him.
That's right. It's hard to kind of keep these straight.
It is. And I keep reminding myself of, or trying to, pace it, trying to figure out where I am in the timeline. And I kind of love it. There's a Twitter poll, like, are you sick of the time hops in Westworld? They're awesome, or you could do without them, something like that. Where do you fall?
What was winning? I think they make for good storytelling in that it makes everything a little interesting. It's a little confusing sometimes because you're like, wait, how did he get there? Wait, how is that happening? But then you just got to remember, like, oh, okay, it's a time hop. So season 1, the time hops weren't noticeable, right? I mean, some people figured it out, right? But
most people, they were cutting it so that
it was flowing very, very well.
You could have believed that Man in Black and William and Logan were in the park at the same time.
Right, exactly. And in this season, they're kind of taking the liberty that you should already understand that there's time hopping, and they're just like kind of going willy-nilly.
Yeah, and they are fucking with us. Let's see. How is there still stuff to shoot at? Stubbs takes the struggling Abernathy, who downstairs.
They take him down into some butcher shop, and she says, I need this guy to stay put. Don't fuck with his brain.
Yeah. And so they take that fucking bolt gun.
Like a bolt gun, yeah.
And they shoot him through the shoulder, through the thigh, through the other thigh, through the other shoulder, and he's screaming in pain. And she's like, he won't go anywhere now. And G.I. Joe's very upset about this. Like, he's... this is straining his, humanity.
Humanity, yeah. Well, he makes the comment, right? They walk back into like Charlotte's office or someone's office. She grabs that like secret tablet thing.
Yeah.
And he goes, what the fuck is that?
Yes.
And she goes, this is the way we get out of here. And, I have to tell him that the cavalry is coming. And Stubbs goes, wait, they weren't coming? You're lying. Bullshit. No way.
Would they
let hundreds of people die
Yeah.
so they could extract one host? And Charlotte goes, now you're getting it.
Yes. It's so great. Are you still upset about being picked last for kickball? He's like, if you're going to hire a head of security, shouldn't you tell him what he's securing?
That's right.
And she was like, you were hired to secure a theme park.
That's right.
Like the division is beautiful. They're doing that sort of, we talked about the show Lost a little bit last week. Yeah. And they're doing that sort of rolling reveal really well.
Yes.
There's a whole universe of information that we, the viewer, were not privy to, that now as the characters are discovering this stuff, we are also discovering it. And there's something very compelling and exciting about it, that there are those levels, that certain characters already know about. There are hidden doors. It's
really nice that there are like I like that continuous reveal because it's continuously making you feel like really awesome. Like, oh shit, that happened. Oh shit, that happened.
They're getting a lot of things right.
They are.
So there's the excitement of the action and adventure stuff, right? There's a sort of horror element that we see throughout. The bolting Abernathy to the chair is part of that. But I think what they do also is they're doing this humanity stuff. Like they're getting so by way of example, Charlotte Hale says to Abernathy, sit tight, old man, you're about to get your deep and dreamless slumber, right? Which is a great line to say to him, but they end that shot with a close-up of G.I. Joe's blue eyes looking really fucked up, like he is not cool with this. And they cut from his blue eyes to an even closer close-up, excuse me, burpy burp, of Abernathy's blue eyes as he's terrified and they're squinchy and he's screaming.
His mouth is tied.
And they're just like super tight. So they're showing us the same sort of fucking eyes, right? Like they're drawing an empathetic connection between, like a human connection here. They're wanting us to feel, the pain of this creature. It's so good. And it's shot beautifully. We are back on track. Like this show, this did exactly what I want from Westworld. This is the shit. Secret compartments. How does Abernathy get the fuck out of there? We know that 2 weeks from now they still don't have him.
That's right.
But they called the cavalry in that
that scene, right?
Yeah, and so from there, so they call the cavalry. They bolt him down. They do that blue eye stuff. From there,
boom,
we transition
to some other blue eyes.
To Magic Maeve. Oh,
yeah, that's right.
In Shogun World.
You're so upset. You're like, fuck this.
God damn it.
Fuck this noise.
I'm off. I'm punching out.
Let's just skip
off
this.
The clock
I
here.
don't think there's really anything purposeful during this scene.
What are they doing? Why? Is this just fan service? Did they just were they like, oh shit, we showed a samurai at the end of the season. We need to now make
a samurai world
that serves no purpose.
Yeah. And what was with the eating of the heart? Or
what the fuck was that? They cut the heart out of a robot. So it's a valve. They cut a robot valve out.
It's a heart. I mean, it's human 3D printed. We have to remember that
it's not a heart. It's a machine.
Cutting up guy. Yep. Felix, thank you. Thank you for reminding me his name. Felix says to Maeve, we are basically identical except for what's up here. That's a fucking 3D printed human heart.
It's bullshit is what it is. They're in Shogun World.
Just sour
Kane,
about
I really am. She cuts out the robot's heart. They wrap it up in Maeve's ripped off sleeve. Is this some sort of I'd give you the shirt off my back. You're my right arm. They're back in town. Mushy wins a ninja fight. There's some talk about free will.
Mushy does win a samurai fight. Yeah, it's not a ninja fight.
Sorry, and a choice to die is the theme here. But time out. Pull back.
Pull out?
They're robots.
Pull out?
If a Kane wants...
Always pull out.
Wants... What's her name? Samantha?
Suke?
Suki? Whatever her name is.
Whatever.
If she wants her daughter back...
Yeah.
She could just reboot the fucking robot.
Yeah, but
all of this is ruined when you cut out her fucking heart.
She makes the statement to Maeve, right?
Yeah.
It's not worth. She says it to her in the last episode that we didn't like. She says,
living in a world is not. It's not worth it. If she's not in it.
Right. No, it's not worth it if you don't make decisions. If you don't have free will, loving something. Is that feeling of loving something is more important than free will.
So is she really saying that mourning the loss of something you can have back anytime you want is more important?
Yes, she's saying that the feeling of that
if she loved her, she could bring her back.
The feeling of that loved. It's better to have loved and lost than to never have loved at all.
I agree. That's a very human sentiment, though, David.
Than being unlocked.
They are immortal. They brought Confederale back from the dead at the Last Supper.
Hold on. They didn't. Okay.
Wyatt did.
Wyatt.
Plus,
crazy.
Maeve is fucking magic. You don't want to maybe tap into your magical resources and see if you can reboot the robot? What, did she lose a couple pints of blood? She got stabbed in one organ that you can 3D print. It would be so easy to bring that kid back to life. Those are not even the worst injuries we've ever seen. Maeve has come back 1 billion times. Why the fuck would they keep this daughter dead? It is a plot hole big enough to drive a Mack truck through. I can't even with Shogun World.
But they had Mushy.
Who got into a samurai fight.
And he won.
What is the point of this?
I don't know. I agree. I'm not. We discussed this last episode. We're not on board with Shogun World so far. So.
Man. But I mean, all right. So, okay. Sure. You know what? I'm not the only fan in the universe. There's room enough in this fandom for samurai fights.
That's right. Don't be a hater.
Pointless.
Don't you know this is 2018? We're not allowed to hate anymore. We have to be open to anyone who wants to be anything they want to be. All right?
That's right.
You want to be a robot without a heart? You can be a robot without a heart. What are your pronouns for that?
You want to be a robot that desperately wants your daughter back and could have her back anytime you want, but you would rather mutilate that carcass and make it harder for you to bring her back.
You can do that. This is 2018, Tana. All right.
Fair enough. We cut from there, thank God, to Man in Black and his robot daughter.
Well.
Clippity clop, they're on some horses. Lawrence is like, listen, your daughter, my daughter, if it was my kid, I wouldn't want to be taking her into all this danger. Yeah. What are you doing? And he's like, appearances can be deceiving, Lawrence.
So do you think she's a robot?
I never considered the possibility. I'm shocked at myself for never considering the possibility. I'm always trying to think in, 3 dimensions here. And at no point was I like, she's fake.
It didn't occur to me until she said, until William says, Ford, would you really stoop that low?
You hate me that much that you would make a host out of my daughter? He says it to his daughter.
That's right.
And she's like, Dad, I think you've been drinking the Kool-Aid too long. Uh-huh. This was the scenes that had Emily in them. I think her name is Emily, though I'm not sure we've actually heard her name yet.
I think it's Emily.
I think it is. But even if it isn't, that's what we'll call her. So the scenes with her in it in this episode have been excellent.
Oh, yeah.
And surprising. I thought it would be some sort of predictable, kind of lame.
I hate you, Dad. You hate me. Like,
two-dimensional, whatever.
But it's not.
And it's so good.
Yeah.
I'm really enjoying it. So, okay. Emily says, so should we acknowledge my presence now? You really think I'll go away if you just ignore me? And Man in Black looks at her and says, do you hate me that much, Ford? You'd really stoop this low, turning my own daughter into a host? You can change the rules all you want, but I'm still going to play it my way.
Play the game my way.
Yeah. Yep. And which I thought was so interesting, right? So at no point did I think she was a host. Now I'm like, fuck, is she?
Yeah.
I think the showrunners might be planting a seed that human beings, people that read as human, Becky, Stubbs, Charlotte Hale.
Could all be hosts?
Could be hosts. Like, now I'm questioning.
You think all of them could be hosts?
Well, so I think that
we knew that's a possibility because of Bernard. Bernard was the first one that really was like, bam, in your face. In my heart of hearts, I don't think so, because I think that the show works best if there are humans like Felix, and I think probably G.I. Joe is a human, and Becky is a human. I think if we have a human mortal cast, it's their actual stakes, right? Like it matters more.
But now I'm questioning, right? Because you just don't know. And so what if a character comes in, and they are actually a host? So anyway, I wonder if they're inserting that question into it here, with this whole daughter talk. But she says, those are not real Ghost Nation arrows. Your men are looting a honeypot.
Yeah.
That was so great.
Yeah, and then he goes, oh, fuck.
Yeah. And then they're like, boom, boom. And there's like the gunfight and whatever. Oh, this is fun shit. Like, it's fun. But then you start thinking about the next conversation that they have that night.
Oh, at the fireplace.
At the fireplace. When she was like, living a life with no consequences is fine when you're a child.
Yeah.
I can see the appeal.
Which is why I liked coming here as a child.
Yeah, when I was a kid.
Which is weird why you still like coming here now.
Yeah, and so he's like,
why you're so obsessed with it now.
It's so from this scene where they're looting the honeypot, and then, they she's like, I'm staying in my saddle because your guys are walking into a trap. There's a little bit of a shootout, and we cut from there to Bernie and Becky walking into the mesa. And I love them. And Bernie says to her, I believe if anyone could right this ship by sheer force of will, it's
would be
you.
you. Yep.
What happens to Becky?
I don't know.
We don't see her in the end.
She's hiding in the cradle.
I hope you're right. I hope she's like...
Stubbs saves her.
We don't know that she's alive.
Stubbs saves her, and Stubb finally gets to make out with her, and they live happily ever after.
I would like her to please be a homo. I understand that the show has already been made and filmed and everything, but please, God, give me a fucking lesbian on this show. Jesus. Also, every time all of the characters, when they meet themselves, like a Kane and Maeve are like looking at each other and their
you're
faces.
Screaming at the TV, make out,
the
make
entire
out,
time.
make out.
Just kiss already. I don't know. Maybe it's a narcissistic personality disorder. I don't know. Becky, QA was here. Macho fucks probably are loving this shit.
Yeah.
They didn't have to waste the welcome wagon.
Yeah.
Question, Dave. Did QA have to waste the welcome wagon?
Probably.
Right? Like, they're robots. You still gotta kill the fucking greeting service.
That's right.
Is Becky not aware of how dangerous the situation is?
I think she's not understanding fully because, remember, Bernard took her away.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Way before shit went down. And now
she hasn't really seen
anything. The only interaction with a host that she knows right now is fucking Bernard. And Bernard's like...
Yep. He saved her from the crazy, Jim Delos, and that's it. That's all she's seen. So I don't think that she has the appropriate level of, like, the robots are going to kill us thing. Bernard has his adorable rifle. Like, I think it's really cute that he has one long barrel rifle. With, like, what do you have, a bullet?
It's a Winchester. It's a repeating rifle.
Is it? I don't know, man.
Is.
And how many repeating bullets does he have in his repeating rifle?
You could probably put like 8 or 9 in there.
That workstation that she pulls up and like pushes things off the desk and like bloop, and then suddenly the glass table has a keyboard in it and she starts do, and then there's like a hologram screen that comes up.
Yep.
And it's transparent and cool as fuck.
You can see her face looking at the screen
it's so
and the
good.
light. Yep.
Oh, it's beautiful. That was a beautiful scene. And like the tech is great. Oh, they're doing a great job in this show with shit like that. Because they're getting these details of the Wild Wild West awesome. Right, like
and future,
and then they're doing the future tech awesome. Yep. Those faceless hosts were sick. The hologram, and they're even doing like stages of technology really well. When Becky goes in the first season back and or Bernard goes underground, they both like use older tech, and Bernard has to pair a new tablet with an old system, and he has to use like an old keyboard and shit. It's so good. The attention to detail is wonderful. I love seeing that. This is when they find out that something is being blocked in the cradle. QA is actually blocked every time by the cradle. Bernard says the cradle can't influence the mesa. It's just the host backup. It can simulate park narratives, but it can't influence the other systems. But Becky says the cradle's interfaced with nearly every discrete system in the entire park in the last 7 days. Every time these idiots... I love this. I love the shade that she throws.
She's typical coder. She's like, no one else does fucking good work. I do good work. Fuck QA.
Every time these idiots upload a new hack, it's responding in like a totally different way. It's like there's something in here that's improvising.
Yep.
Bernard says you can't access it remotely. You have to do it in person. So they go on their mini quest to the cradle. One of the scenes, so I watched this episode through one time just to experience it and one time to do notes. And one of the things that I noticed is when Bernard and Becky are walking through, they're on like a second level, but you can see down to the first level where guards are.
Yeah.
And they're sort of avoiding the guards. So they're sneaking in, essentially.
Well, they're not sneaking, but they're not
they're
not like, hey, security
we're on a
team,
mission.
We're over here. We're going to the cradle.
We cut from Bernard saying you can't access it remotely to the bamboo forest in Snow Lake.
Which looked beautiful.
It did. It did. Very nice bamboo.
I love the garbage chute. They go to
it's for dead bodies and shit, right?
They go to this pagoda and they're just like, I guess we got to go down this garbage chute.
Yep. It's Sylvester in our group. What do you call it when you're in a video game and you have a party?
A crew? A legend? A party? A party.
A party?
It's a party.
They're like raving party. Yeah.
Rating party.
Rating party. It is Sylvester the Molester, Britpop, Felix. Those are human beings. They find that blood chute. Sylvester says, after you, to Felix. Oh, Felix is always getting fucking stunted on. Mushy says, no man is safe who refuses to defend his own home. Cowardice is a tin shield. Or, just hear me out.
Okay.
Bring the daughter back to life.
Again?
I'm just saying. I'm just okay.
Talk about this again?
Maeve, wash your face. The crew inherits the girl with the dragon tattoo. This was an interesting scene. I liked how it was nonverbal and they communicate so much with so little. So we get girl with the dragon tattoo as part of the party. Hector, Maeve, Isabel, one hand robot.
That's right.
Other hand badass snake face. I mean, it's a good crew. I'd walk around Westworld with these idiots.
And Britpop's still got that communicator.
Yeah, he does. That's right.
He tries to make a call or something.
Squad goals.
Well, that's at the end, right? Yeah.
We go, so we go from this. They inherit the girl with the dragon tattoo. And we go fireside with the man in black and Emily, his daughter. I thought you didn't drink. And he takes a swig of the bourbon. Only in here, right? Not in real life.
Not in the real world. Good that you can still tell the difference.
Yep. Throwing some serious shade at Dad. And I was like, here I kind of, eyes glossed over. I was like, oh, this is going to be boring. And it wasn't.
It was probably the best, like you said, the best dialogue of the whole season so far.
I did not expect an apology. Like, she apologizes to him. And I did not see that coming. He goes, okay, what the hell are you doing here? Well, Charlotte Hale called me. If you put closed captions on, it says with a gauntlet invite, but I think they mean gala invite. If there's something called a gauntlet we don't know about, then they foreshadowed it, but the gala.
They're having some conversation, and he says, I thought you didn't want to partake in the family business, and you had nothing to do with it. And she says, that's what I told Charlotte Hale when she called for the gala invite.
Yeah, gauntlet.
Gala.
And then I thought, so what the fuck? I always liked the Raj. It was my favorite as a kid. And he goes, I remember. You were terrified of the elephants. She goes, I loved the elephants.
Mom was terrified of the elephants.
And maybe one of the best underrated lines right here. She was never convinced this place couldn't hurt us.
Do you think that was actually a test by William to see if this is Ford's robot? Because maybe Ford doesn't know everything. I mean, maybe.
But he can't know everything that happens between a human family. Like, you can know certain things, but you can't know everything.
Right. And so that's one of those things where it's like, so I remember those blue pants you wore to my birthday last year. And then, the person always says, blue pants? I wore green pants.
Right.
And he's like, ha! Good.
Right.
I was testing you.
I think so. While that is a very clever and complicated ruse, I think he just forgets I think he gets his wife and his daughter confused because he doesn't pay that much attention to them.
Okay.
And I think that him ignoring what his daughter loved, right? Like, not processing that at all is super sad. And it's beautifully acted. Like, there is a lot in that scene. I've watched it now a couple of times. I really enjoy it. It's beautifully done. Mom was never convinced this place couldn't hurt us. Good on her, because it fucking tore your family apart, and it had nothing to do. It had nothing to do with robots coming to life. This place destroyed your family.
Yep.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. So I rode at the Raj for a couple of days. She has a sex joke here.
Yep. To her dad. Like, oh my God.
And he does this perfect, like, blinky eye. Like, I don't want to hear this shit.
Like, fuck.
And then I remembered I was old enough to go to the Pleasure Palace. So I rode there for a couple days, too. And then all hell broke loose. They started talking about life without consequences. It's appealing when you're a child, but now... And he goes, if I'm such a pitiable man-child, why are you here? To be under my wing?
Take up the cause, basically?
Yeah. Or do you just want to watch me die?
Yeah.
And she goes, no. And this is where the conversation changes for me, where I didn't expect it.
I'm not here so you can commit suicide by robot or whatever the fuck this is.
Yeah, such a great line.
Now that they can shoot back.
You don't get to do that to me, she says to him. Yeah. Oh, this is a great confrontation. You don't get to do that to me. And she goes, I never understood Mom's reactions to you because I believed in your good guy act. She's the only one who saw through it, and she paid for that. But she fucking apologizes. She says, I shouldn't have said that her death was your fault. I shouldn't have put that on your back. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. But you don't get to make that our final score. That doesn't get to be the last thing that we talked about. Because she's probably thinking, I'm going to outlive you, old man.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be carrying the guilt of this conversation and, like, the weird and heavy weight of our fucked up family for the rest of my life.
Absolutely.
So I came here, and you need to make this right. Like,
you need to leave with me.
Yeah.
On the beach. Let's go.
Whatever fucked up suicide mission you're on. And so he looks up, tears in his eyes, and he says, so if I leave with you right now, we go down the beach. That's where QA is going to be. They'll pick us up. We let this place burn behind us. That makes us even. And she kind of smiles and says,
it's a start.
Yeah. And they drink to that. And he's like...
He says, like, in the morning or...
Yeah. So we'll go at first light.
Yeah.
Something like that. Tears in his eyes. And so...
But we all know... I knew the first time I watched this, I said, no fucking way.
Because he has so much pain in his face. It's so beautifully acted. Like, his eyes are full, brimming with tears as he's looking at his daughter, right? Because in this moment, this character is saying, I have a choice. It's phase space. That's right. All of the possibilities.
All the possibilities are happening.
In some universe, he probably walks down that beach. But in this universe, this man at this moment is choosing. He knows he can make it right. He's been given the choice where he can make it right with his daughter.
Yep.
Or at least start down that path and go rejoin the real world and leave all this fake bullshit behind. And he knows that he's not going to make that choice.
That's why he's crying.
Yep.
He's not crying because he's gotten forgiveness
from his
daughter. He's crying because he knows he's going to leave her fucking behind.
And there's no, squidgy gray area. It's black and white.
Yep.
You make this choice and go with me, or you choose to leave me behind and take my horse. Like, he leaves her with nothing. She can't follow him.
Right. Well, that's the point.
Yep. And, I think an argument could be made. They're going into super deadly territory, and he wants her to live.
Right.
But there's also this, there's also this emotional shit, right? Like, it's good. This is the sort of, like, heart in conflict with itself, Dave.
That's right.
This is what we're all about.
This is the heart out of the robot.
Yeah. Oh, God. Not pointless at all. Totally fulfilling and gratifying in every way that a storyline could be. How fulfilling and gratifying. So, sunrise comes, the fire's burning. They left one cousin robot to tend the fire and cook breakfast, and everyone and the horses are gone. And she's just like, motherfucker. We cut from there to Becky and Bernie creeping through the mesa. They end up at the door that says...
CR4-DL.
The cradle.
The cradle.
It's creepy, says Becky.
The cradle.
It's like a hive mind. Every single one of them is in here, alive. Bernard says, it's just data.
It's just data.
You don't believe that.
No, he don't believe that.
You don't believe that.
You don't believe that shit.
Yeah, even if it was whatever new data Ford stuck in here is trying to kill us, Bernard. And then he remembers, I brought something here.
Yep.
Or someone, is what he says. We already know. At this point, you got to be thinking. Were you thinking it?
I was saying, I said to myself.
You were like, this is the episode where we get Ford back.
We get Ford back.
Yep.
I knew. I kind of knew it. Yep.
So we flash back to the faceless host, the red dot matrix, his pocket. They talk about that skull architecture, how he has an articulated skull, so it's going to feel like something's cutting into your fucking brain.
Right.
Pain's just a program. In he goes. Boom. He wakes up. He's on a train. This is the Teddy
on the
thing.
train.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the Teddy thing, you know?
That's right.
The default Westworld setting, the sarsaparilla, the flash bulb.
Remember, this is a backup of all the hosts. This is a backup world.
They all are living in there.
This is the face space. They're all making every possible combination, every possible decision here in this data center, basically.
Yep. But we cut from there. So he's on the train, but we cut from there to QA arriving with that Irish guy. Is he Irish or Scottish?
I think he's Scottish.
So he's Coughlin is his name.
Yeah.
And he totally stunts on Ashley, was it?
Yeah. You fucking brick. Let the adults have a turn, basically.
Go back to holding your dicks or whatever. Get out of my system. So QA finally arrived. So QA arrived a week ago, and they had Abernathy. And so this whole episode happens sort of on the same timeline, but it is behind our current timeline.
Right.
We cut from QA arriving and Ashley getting insulted to being underground with Maeve and the crew. Maeve climbs up into the light. It's a graveyard. It's her old homestead. Britpop wants a pat on the back.
Yep.
Yes, you can enjoy your one admirable contribution. Thank you. Like, she genuinely thanks him for just getting them there. And he's like, okay. She leaves Hector behind, and she goes off to find her daughter. We cut from there to Man in Black and the crew of cousins. There's an axe in a tree. It's a Ghost Nation ambush. Ride, he says, to Lawrence. I think that's the last time we see him in this show.
Aren't they fighting? They come out guns. Yeah,
they get ambushed.
What's the deal with Maeve and her daughter? She talks to her, but there's another
But it
lady.
cuts. So as she's like, she makes it there. She sees the homestead. She tells Hector, I need to leave you behind. And then it cuts to Man in Black. And then it's going to cut back and show her us.
Okay.
That's right. Yeah, so Maeve So I think the last time you see Man in Black and the crew of cousins is when they get ambushed by Ghost Nation. We're going to have to talk about Ghost Nation after this next scene. Yep. Maeve finds a kid, but Ghost Nation finds them.
Right.
Come with us. We're meant for the same path. Your path leads to hell, she says. Then there's gunshots.
Hector comes out from the woods.
Yeah.
Dragon Lady's got her bow and arrow.
They start attacking. Was Ghost Nation going to hurt them, Dave?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Ghost Nation so far saved Emily.
Yep, saved Ashley. Stubbs.
Quote unquote saved Stubbs, right? We're saying saved because they, captured them and
kept them alive.
Kept them alive, yeah, exactly.
So
Ford
is wanting to keep certain people alive.
Yes. And
Ghost Nation are the vehicle for him to do that.
I mean, I don't see why he couldn't do it with every host right now, knowing where he is. But, but yeah, it seems like the Ghost Nation people are
because when they go to ride down. So I understand that the old program has it that Maeve has this terrible relationship, this sort of repeating pattern of being murdered by Ghost Nation, specifically the guy that's chasing her down.
Right.
But it's New World. And when they're chasing down the new Maeve, the mother of the daughter, they don't try to attack her. One of the Ghost Nation guys leans over with his arm down like he's going to scoop her up and put her on the back of his horse.
Yep.
So he doesn't have a weapon in his hand. There's no bow and arrow. There's nothing going to hurt her. It's just he's going to grab this woman. And then the other guy, the Ghost Nation chief, says, come with us. We are meant for the same path. But Maeve's losing her shit, and she says, your path leads to hell. Then there's gunshots. There's screaming. Hector comes in. They start murdering Ghost Nation guys. Ghost Nation guys start running away. Maeve and the daughter get cornered, but he doesn't try to attack them at all.
Right.
So probably they were on the same side, but Maeve didn't know.
Maeve has memories of, him murdering his daughter and her.
Yep.
Right?
I wonder if it's Ford from afar trying to move certain pieces into place.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it all has to do with his storyline.
Yeah.
And I think it's all going to get
certain
revealed.
Things like there's definitely the element of chance, like anybody could die by freak accident.
Right.
There's no, way to ensure anything, but if you've got a team that's helping to look out for you,
right.
That could be helpful. We cut from here. This is when Britpop calls for QA.
Yep.
And Felix is like, what the
three humans. And Britpop calls for QA, and Felix is like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah.
And everyone's, Sylvester and Britpop are like, dude, we're humans. We're not on this side. Like,
we're team mortal gonna die.
Yeah.
Yep. And so Felix chooses Team Robot. They all end up in the same spot. Like, they're all still a crew, but Felix is definitely choosing Maeve.
Oh, yeah.
Dolores and Teddy are on the train. There's tension. They unhook that train car, but first Teddy gives that human a gun and a single bullet. That's the last of my mercy, he says.
And they lock him in the train car that...
Yeah, and then he watches the innocent human, come on, guys, come on! And he's, like, jiggling the handle, and he can't get out. And the train, now that it's not pulling a long, long, long train, it's only pulling one or two cars, starts super speeding up.
That's right.
Question.
Yeah.
2 questions. Yeah. One's fun, one's about the show.
Okay.
You're that guy. What do you do? 1 bullet, 1 gun.
Shoot a window out and jump out the fucking window.
That's what you do. You obviously do that, man. You shoot out the fucking window. Even just turn the pistol around and smash the window with the butt of the gun.
Yeah.
Climb out the fucking window and jump off the train.
That's right.
That's what you do.
Yep.
You will probably die or break some bones, but you are definitely gonna die if you don't get off the fucking train.
I agree.
And it's only glass. Just get your fucking ass out of the door. Kick down the door. Like, these are old locks. This isn't like some industrial. You just got to break enough wood to get off the train. Oh, what is this guy doing?
We all know that every guy in the world knows how to break some wood. All right? Because we're very careful about our wood.
Don't girls know how to break wood? Or is this a hard truth? We don't want to talk about the hard truths. Better question.
Every morning there's some wood that has to be broken.
Every morning?
Pretty much every morning.
Question.
Yes.
Number 2. Do you get, so Teddy says, gives him the gun, gives him the last bullet.
Last mercy you're going to get from...
Yeah, that's the last of my mercy. Yeah. Do you get the sense from watching these scenes that there is a real Teddy trapped inside this version of Teddy?
Interesting. I think I don't know if I'd say trapped. I'd say it has to do with the stability of the changes and not being a full rebuild, right? Yeah. So there's parts of his core programming, his back, the original Teddy are still there, and they're still kind of, I don't want to say fighting to get out, but they're making instabilities in the changes that they made.
Yep.
That's what I think.
Ah, that's good. That's a good engineering way to put it.
Yeah. Ugh. I don't want to say trapped because then it's like a ghost in the shell kind of thing or ghost in the machine.
Yep.
And it's like, nah, not really. It's more of programming conflicting with each other. Runtime errors,
Runtime errors. Yeah. 404. Page cannot be found.
404. Apartment not found.
We're back in the Mesa. The Scottish asshole is saying, listening to a tech tell him that the system says it's fine. And he goes... That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard or something. And he's like, except clearly it isn't. They dispatch guys. So he sees Charlotte Hale. You have something for us. Yeah, he's in blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Behavior, row 3, whatever.
Right.
And so he dispatches guys to go get it. And he goes, you left him there alone? And she goes, he's not going anywhere.
Yeah. Foreshadowing, he's gone.
He's definitely gone. We already know he definitely goes somewhere. They get the map, that holodeck map, back online.
Up and running. And all of a sudden, beep, beep, beep. What is that? It's a train.
It's a train. Oh no, and it's going faster and faster and faster. We cut to, boom, Becky and Bernard. What was that?
Yep.
They're down in the cradle. Bernard has been uploaded in there, and she says, what do you see? And then we cut to Bernard. And
walking into the Mariposa.
It's the final scene. He sees Dolores. He sees the flashbulb pop. It's all these familiar shit.
Yep.
Jacques, the happy greyhound, runs past him looking brand new.
Which is your first sign that something's up, right? Because that doesn't happen in the initial
There's a wolf
opening.
Sometimes, but there's never Jacques. And so where Jacques is, we know that there's going to be a Ford.
That's right.
Teddy leaves the saloon and passes Bernard going into the saloon. The piano music is playing. The greyhound we see. So as soon as you pan through the room, blurry behind Bernard, you're on Bernard, and it's the camera's rotating around his head with his head in the shot the whole time, taking in the room. Everything around him is blurry, but the first place it pans to is a white-haired, very blurry piano player.
That's right.
Where the dog goes to sit down, and then it's like you take in the rest of the room or whatever. You focus on Bernard's face and just the music. You're immediately reminded of the well-trained clavier. It was one of the titles of season 1 episodes.
Yep.
Where we find out, it's the one where we find out Bernard is a host, I think.
That's right. Yeah.
The well-trained clavier. Piano music. We pan up from the greyhound to the heels of the piano player.
It's Ford.
And onto the piano itself. And a reflection in the piano of beautiful Ford of
full head of hair.
Yes,
completely
of national treasure Anthony Hopkins looking down and like at his own hand, so not engaging, not looking at at Bernard or anything, just like looking off.
Yep.
And he says, "Hello, old friend." End of episode. Oh, it's so good. He made a heaven for himself, Dave. He's in his own heaven.
But
that's what he wants. It's his heaven.
But did he make it for Arnold, like you brought up at the beginning, which we talked about the end at the beginning?
I made a list of questions for us to cover.
These are the questions we need to talk about.
One, this all happened a week ago, not in real time. Some of these we probably will have already touched on, but I just wanted going forward into next week's thing. Did you watch the coming next week stuff?
I did not. I don't like to watch them because
Dave, I can't help myself. I can't help myself.
Also, I find myself, I watched on the app and it takes a while for the coming next time to come up, and I'm bored by the time the credits hit. It's like 10 seconds in the credits, I'm like, there's no after scene, I'm done.
Okay, this
is not a Marvel.
There was some cool shit. Like next week's episode, this Sunday's episode is going to be so good.
I want to see Bernard in a machine gun.
Oh, so that's what we're going to see next weekend. And Ford says to Bernard in the coming next week, what happens next is not your fault. And it cuts to Bernard like, bum, 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 bum. And everyone in the cradle in the main control room getting slaughtered.
Oh my God.
It's that scene
you think
of slaughter.
Ford takes over Bernard?
I think that Ford takes over some shit. I wonder if there's some way, if we're going to see the world, the real world, the way Ford is seeing it through the programs, which might be security cameras or whatever.
Right.
I don't know how they're going to interface these two things, but the way they cut it together, it makes me think that either Bernard is seeing it or Bernard is doing it.
Yeah.
But Ford is there. They're looking face to face and you see Anthony Hopkins. So probably he's still in there for part of the episode. One of the other things we see, remember this was all a week ago. So the things that happen in real time, not this week's episode a week ago, but in the timeline a week ago.
Yep.
Charlotte Hale and a group of soldiers, including Ashley, including G.I. Joe, she enters a room and there's a bunch of hosts lined up under sheets, but some of the sheets are pulled off the hosts and she whips one off.
They're looking for Abernathy.
Every one of them is Bernard. So it's Bernard's face and it's a version 1 Bernard where how when the boy's face came apart, it was that black robot, the machinery.
Right.
So there's a half
open
Bernard face.
They all discover that Bernard is not a
week ago. If it's the same week ago timeline, then Charlotte Hale and Stubbs both see that there are a dozen.
So maybe it's not
Bernards.
Maybe it's not really Bernard that's doing the popping. Maybe it's one of these Bernard copies.
Or so I have two questions about this, right? This teaser. One, does it happen
totally ruined that for me, by the way.
Sorry, but you're going to get it ruined. So you need to be thinking about this stuff in 3 dimensions. Does this happen in the current timeline?
4 dimensions, all right? Is Man in Black testing his daughter? Okay.
Or did this happen a week ago? Right? So, because Stubbs is the one that finds Bernard on the water 2 weeks later.
And doesn't say anything.
The way I'm thinking that this could go is if it isn't just Bernard, if they've made carbon copies of Charlotte Hale, for instance. So like instead of just seeing Bernard, she also sees herself. She also sees Stubbs. She also sees like, just give me a couple like mannequins that look like people. You don't even have to have control
Just
units.
to fuck with people.
And it would throw people off the scent. Then Bernard could be like, I'm totally a human, obviously, just like you guys.
Yeah.
But
don't look here.
yeah, that's just me making, I think, mountains out of molehills. So that's something to look forward to.
Okay.
Coughlin is missing in the current timeline. So the 2 weeks later, they send Sadistic String Bean. This is the first time we've ever seen Coughlin, the Scottish guy.
That's right. Maybe
So,
does he dies in the explosion?
Yep.
Maybe.
Does Becky die? Because
Yeah,
we
what
don't
happens?
see Becky
That's right. What happens
in the
to
current timeline. So what's up with Becky? What's up with the new meanie? What happens with Abernathy? So we know that Dolores and the crew get into the Mesa. So we're going to see a showdown between Blondie number 2, Teddy,
Yep.
Dolores. Who else is in their crew?
Bernard?
Anyone else we know?
Oh. Their crew?
Yeah, on the
Clem?
train coming in. Clem. Yep. Crazy Clem. So at least those 4 who are all
Wyatt's
OG.
followers, yeah.
They're all OG robots.
Right.
Are coming in. And they're going to throw down. Let's see. Yep. I think that's it. Hale sees the old versions of Bernard. The jigs is up. Stubbs sees it too. Ford says to Bernard, what's about to happen is not your fault. And then Bernard, there's a pause and he's like, no,
machine gun killing
machine
everyone.
gun. Yeah, watching it happen. There is, in the coming next week, Blondie number 2 looking so fresh and so clean.
So fresh and so
So
clean.
just like looking like her old self. None of that like
fresh and so
Jesus.
clean.
Yeah. Shit.
She's the welcome wagon.
Yeah. Britpop is there as well, still dressed as a donkey boy, so he'll be in next week's episode.
Yeah, not sure what happens with them.
He's hiding in the flashbacks of next week's episode. He's hiding behind a stack of crates, hyperventilating, and it cuts to Clementine like shooting a machine gun or something inside the building. What happened? Dolores sort of posts up in front of Abernathy, who's been bolted to the
she's
chair,
like protecting him.
so she
like
gets
human
it. Yep.
shield. Yeah.
She kind of, and then after
So we know that's
she
where she's
posts
going.
up, then Bernard, we see him with the machine gun. It's only a shot of his face and the pop, 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 pop. And we still don't know why there's a bunch of robots in the water. We don't know what's up with Teddy.
We don't have too much longer to wait. Only 2 days, Tana. It's Friday now.
Friday night.
And the feeling's right.
Happy
And my
Pride Month.
Westworld is coming in 2 days.
Dave and I have to go do some gay things at Waterworld. Nope. Westworld. Nope. Water. Gay days. Gay days.
Gay days.
At gay days.
Gay days.
Yep.
In an alternate reality.
Yep.
That's where we are.
No. I like gay traditions. I like it.
Yeah?
You know, yeah, the Memorial Day just came and went. And for me, growing up, I always went to Provincetown, P-Town in Massachusetts for Memorial Day.
Did you go there this year?
Sure didn't. I was in Orlando, actually, for MegaCon, which was an excellent show.
Memorial Day was my birthday.
I know. Well, happy birthday, buddy.
Thank you.
Another year older and wiser.
That's right. I'm
And,
now way more capable of making anal jokes and analysis.
Analysis.
You know, an anal cyst is like a thing. It's like a gross thing, and that's kind of what we're doing. We're
I think
doing
we should
anal
leave
cysts.
everyone with the
okay.
image of an anal cyst on Dave's birthday.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for listening, and we'll see you. We'll see you for the next episode.
Oh, I'm so excited. I'm so glad that we left Shogun World behind. I don't know what that was about, but I am happy to see the end of it.
And
we have the girl with the dragon tattoo. So
I'm gonna laugh when next week is all
it can't be.
Shogun
It's
World.
so bad. Like I don't get it, but I'm glad it's over. That's my takeaway line. I don't get it, but I'm glad it's over.
And with that, we'll make t-shirts of that. And pain is just a program. Thanks for listening.
We'll catch you next week. Do we have a sign off?
We don't. Do we have
All
a sign off?
men. No. This drink
looks like
nothing to me.
Wow, we got drunk and we forgot our sign off. That's great. Great. Oh, here's the looking at you guys. I should probably hit the stop button now.
Yeah, I think so, probably.